a family that we know of, they have friends that were all in this one house, this family, and all 10 of them died in one single house. So that's almost 10% of the people that died are just in one house. That there's no way that makes sense. He's lost a lot of his supporters. He definitely did way more harm than good. At the rate that it's going, I'm not going to be surprised if my house isn't ready to live in a year from now.
Alexandra Lavoie reporting for Ribbon News, and it has been already 2 months since the devastating fires that destroyed the town of Lahaina in Maui. This fire is the deadliest in the U.S. in more than a century. For those of you who have not heard of it, on August 8, a brush fire appeared to be ignited by an electric line that collapsed due to violent wind brought by the tail of Hurricane Dora. This fire destroyed the historic town of Lahaina, claiming countless lives and reducing more than 2,000 structures, mostly residential, to ashes. Residents attempted to escape, but roads were blocked by authorities for various reasons, such as collapsed electric line and debris. Trapped in a nightmarish scenario, some residents perished in their car or home, while others jumped into the ocean or attempted to flee for safety. The blaze left much of the historic town in ruin. Now, the Red Cross is managing the non-collective shelter program and assisting individuals who are not eligible for FEMA assistance. It is noteworthy to mention that many people who were living in Lahaina were undocumented and, as a result, ineligible for FEMA program. During my time on the ground in Maui, I spoke with firefighter Dan Nelson from California, who resides part-time in Lahaina. Throughout the incident, Dan remained at his house, tirelessly trying to protect it from the disaster. Today, with media attention waning, Dan Nelson provides us with an update on the situation.
Well, it was pretty quiet around there. They're supposed to let tourists come back in next week, I think, and that's kind of being not many people are happy about that. But as far as what's going on, still very little. In my neighborhood, there's 6 houses that are standing on my street. They've started to put the power lines back in, but there's no transformers. There's still no power to the house. They turn the water on just for fire protection and irrigation. The water is too dangerous to drink, too dangerous to shower in, too dangerous to cook with, so we can only use it for watering plants. Very little cleanup. They started on our street. They started to clean up. They have 2 phases of cleanup they're going to do. First, they're coming in to take out all the hazardous stuff, batteries, propane tanks, chemicals, anything like that. And once they do that, then families can come back in for the first time to dig through their rubble and try to find belongings. So that just started on our street, the first phase of it, and it'll still be another week or 2 before any of my neighbors can come in and dig through their houses. As far as the county presence, nobody still has come and talked to us. Nobody has given us any idea. All they do is refer us to the website, and there's very minimal information on that website that's at all helpful. So we're still very much in the dark. We have no idea on when they think all this stuff will be done. I'm sure they do have some sort of a plan, but they're keeping it pretty quiet. But they at first had said that it was going to be about a year for them to clean it up, and I can tell you it's going to take way longer than a year to clean it up. Being a firefighter in California and seeing how long it takes to clean up the fires here, they're on an island with way less resources and no place to put the stuff. I had heard that they're going to have to haul it all off to the mainland, so I think it's going to take a couple years to get it to where it's cleaned up enough to start building. But they have given us no idea of when the neighbors can or what they can do, if they can put the same houses there, if they have to do something different. So everybody is still just in the dark. Nobody has any information. You'd think going through a major event like that, somebody would come and talk to each person and just say, here's what to expect, here's an approximate time length, and here's what you can be doing to help. And is there anything that we can do to help you in the meantime? The only help that we've gotten is from the Red Cross, and that's not even part of the county or anything. So everybody just feels like that nobody cares, and that now that the media's gone and nobody's out there, it's just kind of not being talked about except on the local level. And social media.
Some people have bring a petition with over 10,000 signatures to ask to not welcome back the tourism on the West Island. Do that polarize a little bit the people? How they feel about like the fact that now Josh Green seems to want to bring back the tourism?
Yeah, I've heard numbers anywhere from $9 to $13 million a day that the island is losing out by not having the tourism on that side. And there's a lot of people that are upset and say it's still too soon because it still looks much like when you were there 2 months ago. It doesn't really look any different other than there's some fences up. So, I know people that have signed that petition, that there's over 10,000 signatures, and people just don't want it. They realize that the money, the income from it helps the island, but it's still just a complete disaster zone. And it's kind of like, hey, we're inviting people in to come stay in the hotels where the displaced families are. And these displaced families don't even know what the long-term plan is, how long they can stay there, if they're and where they're going next. They got the one-time payment from the federal government, and a lot of people were either uninsured or underinsured because the values of their houses had gone up so much since they first bought them. And so, yeah, there's a lot of people that are having to consider moving off the island and leave their families and go somewhere else just to live. The Oprah and the Rock Charity Fund has been helping some people out, but that only lasts so long, and it's only so much money. There's no jobs there. The whole town burned down. A lot of people worked in the industry, for cooking, restaurant industry, shops, hotels, all that, and all that is gone. So they don't have a way to make money either. They
raised the death toll to 117 and they lower it to 97, saying that they find the same multiple DNA a little bit everywhere. What is the view of the vision of the people on the ground? Do they believe that this is actually accurate?
Oh, no, not at all. So the county's being kind of careful, I think, about they're trying to say they won't say a number. They won't identify a body unless they know exactly who it is, and that the county has also confirmed it. So the FBI and the county have confirmed it. So they're trying to say that there's a backlog in that. And but from people I'm talking to, a family that we know of, they have friends that were all in this one house, this family, and all 10 of them died in one single house. So that's almost 10% of the people that died are just in one house. That there's no way that makes sense. Is there an independent third party that can start to put the true factual information together about who is missing, how many kids are missing, how many adults are missing, and how many we actually know? Because obviously they're not going to say someone perished in the fire if they can't find their DNA. But if somebody knows that someone lived in a house and they can't be found, it's a pretty safe bet that they're gone. So that is probably the most disturbing thing, is that they're hiding the number of bodies. And why is that? My house had a notice put on it that it said it's okay to go into our house, but the neighbors' houses that are burned down because of those toxic chemicals, that's why they're doing that first phase where they come through, remove the main hazards, and test and do some air samples and stuff. And once that's done, then they're going to allow people to come look through their stuff only if they're wearing masks and Tyvek suits, because as they dig through that, it will stir up more chemicals and more asbestos and things like that. My neighbor's buddy, someone from State Farm Insurance, had called them and said, hey, we'll give you $250,000 for your land the way it is right now. And so once they kind of did that moratorium on that and said, hey, we're not allowing that, I haven't heard of anybody else that's been called. But I'm talking to less and less people too, because my neighbors aren't around. Everybody's kind of dispersed and in different places. So I haven't, other than the initial people that I've talked to, I haven't talked to anybody who's heard that recently or been contacted recently.
And following the visit of Joe Biden, did something came out of this?
nothing came out of it as far as I know, other than him making a lot of people mad. My next door neighbor, they had a Biden-Harris sticker on their car ever since the election. And once he said that, I saw them in their car and they scraped the bumper sticker off. So he's lost a lot of his supporters. He definitely did way more harm than good by first saying no comment and then by coming out, looking at it and just doing nothing.
President, any comments on the rising death toll in Maui?
Will you come talk about the Hawaii response, Mr. President?
Meanwhile, everyone sees on the news every other week, it seems like more and more millions and billions going to Ukraine. And Hawaii's going, how come that money's not coming to us?
Talking about Josh Green, do the people are satisfied so far of what he's doing?
Most people are very against what he's doing and how he's handled this. They saw how he interacted with the president, the things that he said, and his lack of action, things that he could have been doing. The locals are calling him now Josh Howley Green, and Howley's not a good term for for somebody. So he's definitely lost a lot of support. Everybody's disappointed in him, and I haven't talked to one person that has been supportive of what he's done. Most people feel like he's behind part of what's going to happen with the rebuild and trying to make some kind of a green city and that kind of a thing. So there's a political agenda there on the rebuild, and I think most people have such a lack of trust in him because they think that he is not going to allow the town to be rebuilt how the people want it. It's going to be done according to his political agenda. With them not telling us anything, I had to make the decision to move away from the island for now. Flights were getting extremely expensive, and they were canceling a lot of them because the tourists aren't coming out there. So we ended up moving all of our stuff out to Utah. You can smell it in the air just every day, and it was causing her to have breathing issues. So for our health and safety, we just decided we were going to go stay with family in Utah for now until we get some answers. And at the rate that it's going, I'm not going to be surprised if my house isn't ready to live in a year from now, because they're still going to declare the area around it hazardous, and it's going to take them so long to clean up all my neighbors' houses that are burnt down that I'm sure they won't let me in until then. So it just completely changed the direction of our life by not knowing what's going to go on.
During the wildfire that was happening in Maui, in Lahaina, my colleague Lincoln J and I, we went all the way to Hawaii to report on the story. If you want to see our report, go over thetruthAboutMaui.com. On this website, you can see our report, but also you can donate generously to help us to offset our previous travel expense. Thank you.